What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. This is Johnny, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the statistics that nobody talks about when mentioning tomorrow night's main event at 154 pounds between two undefeated fighters, the Australian Tszyu and the traveling Spanish fighter Oscar Diaz. Guys, before I continue, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to everybody who's been with me since day one. If you haven't already, could you please remember to hit subscribe? Could you also like this video? Also, pinned in the comments section below is a link to become a Johnny Says Boxing VIP Insider. This membership is a couple bucks a month. You could either join here on YouTube or on Patreon. Whichever one you choose, you get all my picks, all my bets. You get elevated during our live streams. I feature your questions, but more importantly, you get access to our world famous JSB Insider professional betting Discord. Click that link to find out more. All right, guys, we have a busy week of boxing ahead of us. Fights all over the world, in the US, in the UK. This fight card goes down in Australia. If you're following along, I've already broken down, analyzed, and predicted the co-feature on this fight card between 50 cal Calvin Peters and the traveling American Joshua James. If you haven't watched that video yet, watch it directly after this one. But in this video, we're gonna be talking about the main event, the return of the Butcher. Tszyu takes on El Toro, Oscar Diaz. So in this video, guys, I'm gonna break down both fighters' careers. I'm gonna remind everybody what they've been up to. I'm gonna talk a little bit about how they go about their business. And like always, stay tuned to the end of the video. That's where I'll be going over the current Las Vegas odds, and I'll be giving you my prediction, telling you where to put your money. Oscar Diaz has an opportunity of a lifetime. This is an undefeated 25-year-old Orthodox fighter from Spain. They call him El Toro. He is 16-0 with 6 knockouts. This is a guy who's the #2 ranked super welterweight in Spain. He's ranked somewhere in the top 100 internationally. He's a guy who likes to keep it technical. Oscar Diaz, when you watch his film fight tape, I won't blame you if you don't recognize many of his opponents. You see this a lot with fighters coming from European countries such as Spain. What he is, though, is a technician. This is a guy who has the Toro nickname. He could be a bull at times, but from what I've seen, he likes it best when the fight is operating at his pace, when he's picking you apart with his counter shots, and when he's dictating the pressure and the tempo. He's going to be in there tough. We always talk about the travel. Whenever the B-side is traveling to Australia, we know about the long flights. We know about the B-side. We know about the promotional company No Limit. Look into the statistics of No Limit fighters who are the A-sides going up against the guys who are traveling the B-sides. The percentage is extremely high, always favoring the A-side. Tszyu isn't your conventional fighter. He's a southpaw. He's already 28 years old now, and the Aussies have watched him grow up in front of us. This will be his second fight of 2026. The first fight ended in a sort of confused manner, lackluster. By no means was it his fault. He was going up against Michael Zarafa in his step-up fight, a fight in which it was supposed to be sort of the reintroduction to Tszyu on the international stage. We know Zarafa is an opponent who's fought for world titles before. He's come up short, but the name on the resume was supposed to elevate Nikita. After 2 rounds, the judges had it split 1-1, but watching the fight, it was trending in a Tszyu trajectory. He was just warming up into it, and it was looking like we were in store for a cracker, but due to cuts and headbutts and doctors and a bunch of confusion in the ring, the fight was stopped in the 3rd, and it was deemed a no contest. Tszyu said after Zarafa was making excuses, he said he did not want the rematch. Fast forward a few months, and here we are today. Tszyu now is ranked in the top 20 internationally at 154 pounds, and just like his opponent, who's ranked #2 in his country, Nikita is ranked #2 in his country. When these two guys match up, you're going to see Tszyu, if you've never seen him before, you're in for a treat. An aggressive southpaw, stays on the front foot. He can punch with both hands. He's really unorthodox with where his punches come from, but more than anything, he is instant action. This guy loves a firefight. We've seen him knock down before. We've seen him get up off the canvas and end fights. He is never in a boring fight, so we're really excited about this fight. It's a really fun and intriguing midweek main event here in Australia. Right now, I do want to take a look at the B-side, the traveling Spaniard, Oscar Diaz, and see what he's been up to in his career. Oscar Diaz is 16-0 with 6 knockouts. Out of 2,373 fighters in the world at 154 pounds, he's ranked number 111. He's fought a career total of 87 pro rounds and carries into the ring a 38% career knockout to win ratio. His adoring fans know him as El Toro. And the Spanish fighter is a 25-year-old, 5'9.5" Orthodox fighter. He was born and raised and lives in Alcalá de Guadalajara, Andalusia, Spain. We last saw him fight Leonardo Di Stefano, 17-6, won a UD in the 10th. Enochat, 7-1, 1 points decision in the 8th. Rangel, 6-33 points in the 6th. Garia, 18-3, won a split in the 12th. Garia, the first time, 18-2, knocked him out in the 8th. Like I said, have a look through the resume. You won't recognize a lot of names unless you're living in Spain. No offense to the Spanish domestic scene. I wasn't too aware of any of his opponents. When I was watching the tape on him, he's not a big puncher, but he has good timing, so keep that in mind. He has good speed as well. He's a pretty decent athlete, and he's technical. I like a fighter who keeps his technique together the later a fight goes. I haven't really seen him hurt. I haven't really seen his technique break down. He wants to win rounds. He wants to outpoint you, and he wants to win decisions. If he could handle Nikita Tszyu, if he could use his jab and keep Nikita Tszyu at his range, he could then keep the pace at his own style and potentially create one of the biggest upsets of 2026. Right now, I do want to take a closer look at Nikita Tszyu and see what he's been up to in his career. Guys, Nikita Tszyu is 11-0. Of his 11 wins, 9 of them were by way of knockout. Out of 2,373 fighters in the world at 154 pounds, he's ranked number 16. He's fought a career total of 51 pro rounds and carries into the ring an 82% career knockout to win ratio. His adoring fans know him as the Butcher, and the 28-year-old Australian is a southpaw standing at 5'9". He was born and raised and lives in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia. We last saw him fight Michael Zarafa, 34-5, no contest, no decision due to cuts in the 3rd. Ismaili, 12-0, stopped him in the 1st. Muzadar, 12-3, stopped him in the 9th. Danilo Creedy, 8-1, won a UD in the 10th. Dylan Biggs, 10-0, stopped him in the 5th. The fight before that was against Jack Brubaker, another fight in which he stopped an Aussie seasoned veteran in a featured main event. Nikita Tszyu, since he turned pro, whenever your last name is Tszyu and you're the younger brother of Tim Tszyu, you're going to have a lot of lights and eyes on you. I have to say, watching him from the early days of his career to where he is now, you see a kid who stays in the gym, he levels up, he's had to overcome some injuries in the past, but every time we've seen him, he's looking the goods. He was looking good in that end of the 2nd round. He was coming on against Zarafa, and it's a shame that that fight didn't continue to go on. No shade to Zarafa, but the way it was trending, the way I was seeing it, it looked like an intimate knockout for Nikita Tszyu, but we are not fortune tellers. I can't assume that that's what happened, but Tszyu didn't want the rematch. The rematch didn't take place, and here we are. Nikita Tszyu starts everything with his lead hand. He controls you with his lead foot. He uses his pressure to bully you, and he wants to be in exciting fights. He will punch with you, and he'll take your power. He has confidence in his chin. He has confidence in his power, and more importantly, all we've seen thus far in this career is this warrior mindset of in the ring, he's willing to go through the fire to get the victory. His best win, Dylan Biggs. We know what Dylan Biggs has been up to in his career, winning that tournament a couple months ago. That win has aged well. The opportunity to step up against Zarafa really didn't end how we wanted it to end, and all Nikita could do is show out and show up every time he fights. We'll see if that's the case tomorrow night in Newcastle. Guys, before we go over the current Las Vegas odds, I do live streams every single day. In those live streams, if you're a JSB insider, I take your questions. We talk about our props, our long parlays. We cover the UFC, so it's not just boxing. In these edited Stats Don't Lie videos, you're only going to get my money line prediction. All right, guys, wherever you are in the world, let's pull out our betting apps. Nikita Tszyu is the $1.16 favorite. You put 100 on Nikita, you get your money back plus 16 bucks. Oscar Diaz is a $5.75 dog. You put 100 on Oscar, you get your money back plus 475 bucks. Oscar Diaz is almost a 5-1 dog. He has the chip stacked against him. He's traveling from Spain, long flight. He's the B-side on a no-limit card. He's not a big power puncher, and he's very technical, and he's going up against a guy who has a lot of power, who's ultra aggressive, who's a great athlete, who's the A-side, who's undefeated, who fights with a bravery that you don't see every day. I think the odds are exactly where they should be. I did say earlier that if Diaz could pull up the upset, it would be one of the biggest upsets of 2026. I stand behind that. I don't think a lot of people are picking the Spaniard to come in and outbox and be able to control and contain Nikita Tszyu. Right now on the money line, I'm going with Nikita to continue on this upward trajectory, to remind everybody who he is in his own right and to remain undefeated. Stay tuned to the live streams. The props just dropped, and we're looking at plus money props here going into fight night, which goes on tomorrow night in Newcastle. If you haven't seen the breakdown, analysis, and prediction of the co-main, 50 cal Callum Peters versus Joshua James, stay tuned to the channel. Also, one more thing in the comments section, you don't have to agree with me. Is Nikita Tszyu going to remain undefeated, or do you think the Spanish fighter Oscar Diaz is going to keep his O? Either way, I'll catch you guys in the next video. What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. This is Johnny, and in today's video we're going to be taking a closer look at the statistics that nobody talks about when mentioning tomorrow night's fight at middleweight here in Australia between Callum Peters and Joshua James. Guys, before I continue, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to everybody who's been with me since day one. If you haven't already, could you please remember to hit subscribe? Could you also like this video? Linked in the comments section below is information on how to become a Johnny Says Boxing VIP betting insider. Join on YouTube. You can join on Patreon. It's a couple bucks a month. Whichever way you choose, you get access to our world famous Discord. We started this Discord in August, and we just broke 500 VIPs. Click that link to find out more. All right, guys, another exciting week of boxing is among us. We have fights all week, all throughout the world. In this video, what I'm going to do is break down a co-feature on the Nikita Tszyu card. This fight takes place between two young fighters who fight at middleweight, vying to keep their position within the top 100 internationally. I'm talking about the American Joshua James and the Australian Callum Peters. So in this video, what I'm going to do is break down both fighters' careers. I'm going to talk a little bit about how they go about their business. And like always, stay tuned to the end of the video. That's where I'll be going over the current Las Vegas odds and be giving you my prediction, telling you where to put your money. All right, guys, the Americans here should know who Joshua James is. We featured him on the channel multiple times. We last saw him in December of 2025 in a clip that went viral. He was going up against another young undefeated fighter. His opponent was 5-0, and this fight was nip and tuck. If you remember that viral double knockdown in which Joshua James and his opponent were punching at the same time and both guys hit the canvas, it was an exciting thing that you don't see every day. In all my years of boxing and watching boxing, I think I only saw this once. I never saw it live, and if you're in our Discord, we were streaming this fight live. Joshua James is a 27-year-old. He's had little over 50 pro rounds. He's a puncher. He's a guy who's very brave in there, and he likes to mix it up. This matchup with the Aussie Callum Peters makes for an exciting and intriguing matchup, considering Joshua's opponent, Callum, only has 12 pro rounds. James didn't have an extensive amateur career, but Callum Peters did. If you go to his box rec, you'll see he had over 100 wins as an amateur. This is a guy that the Australian domestic scene will definitely know about. 50 cal is a rising star in the Aussie domestic scene. You would have just seen him in April last month coming off another knockout victory. He's 6-0 with 6 knockouts. He only has 12 pro rounds, and I think the American traveling to the Australian soil will give him a great test and a great challenge, and more importantly, a great litmus test to see where Callum Peters is in his career. How can he handle another youthful puncher, another guy who likes to exchange, and this makes and has all the trappings for a firefight. Right now, let's take a look at the American Joshua James and see what he's been up to in his career. Guys, Joshua James is 10-1-2. Of his 10 wins, 5 of them come by way of knockout. Of his 1 loss, he's been stopped once. Out of 1,986 fighters in the world at middleweight, he's ranked 77. He's fought a career total of 60 pro rounds and carries in the ring a 50% career knockout to win ratio. His adoring fans know him as Sean Time. The 27-year-old American is a 6'1" Orthodox fighter. He was born in Vallejo, California, but calls Sacramento, California, USA home. We last saw him fight Yohanler Martinez, 5-0, won a majority decision in the 8th. Lester Martinez, 18-0, he got stopped in the 4th. Vaughn Alexander, 18-8, won a UD in the 8th. David Stevens, 13-0, knocked him out in the 1st. And 2 fights before that, back-to-back, he was coming off of draws. When you look at his resume, you would recognize names on his resume. David Stevens, Vaughn Alexander, Lester Martinez. Lester Martinez is a guy who went tooth and nail with Christian and Billy, and Christian and Billy has been matched with Canelo Alvarez later on in the year. So that just goes to show you the trajectory and how Joshua James has been moved thus far. The 27-year-old doesn't have an unblemished record, but there are a lot of people in the American domestic scene who believe that this kid with more seasoning could definitely develop into an exciting contender one day. This is a very tough task. I've lived here in Sydney, Australia since 2013. I'm obviously an American born and raised in the USA. I've taken that 15-hour flight over 50 times since 2013 from LAX to Sydney, 15 straight hours. It takes time to acclimate. I know Joshua landed here in Australia a couple days ago. If you've been paying attention to the promotional side of things, you would have seen the face-offs. He was at the media press day, so that is a good sign. Joshua James is a kid who likes to punch with his opponents. He has power, he believes in his power, and he fights really brave. That double knockdown was something to see, something to behold. And the judges, when one of the judges scored it for his opponent, the other judge gave it to him, thus winning a majority decision. He's coming in here confident. This is a guy who believes in his tools, believes in his arsenal, believes in his camp. And come fight night tomorrow night in Australia, this is going to be an exciting match. To get Callum Peters respect, he's going to have to use his power, and he's going to have to trade with Callum Peters. He's going to have to not let Callum back him up. The minute he shows any sort of break in that front foot and starts allowing Callum to dictate the pace, or more importantly, the real estate, Joshua James is going to be in tough. He does have a chance. This is a 50-50 fight if you ask me. Before we get to the current Las Vegas odds, I want to take a look at his undefeated opponent, Callum Peters, and see what he's been up to in his career. Guys, Callum Peters is 6-0 with 6 knockouts. Out of 1,986 fighters in the world at 160 pounds, he's ranked number 86. He's fought a career total of 12 pro rounds and carries in the ring 100% career knockout to win ratio. His adoring fans know him as 50 Cal, and the 23-year-old Australian is a 5'11.5" Orthodox fighter. He was born and raised and lives in Adelaide, South Australia. We last saw him fight Muzinho, 4-0, stopped him in the 2nd. Cody Beacon, 8-2, stopped him in the 6th. Haywood, 9-8, stopped him in the 1st. Lanigan, it was his debut, stopped him in the 1st. So Callum Peters turned over in 2024. Fast forward 2 years, 6-0, 6 knockouts. The knock on a guy with only 12 pro rounds will always be, who has he fought? What's he going to look like against an opposition who's been in there with the better opponent? And what's he going to look like in a step-up fight? Well, tomorrow night, we're going to get to see. This is a step-up fight. When I saw this fight was made, I instinctively thought like, ooh, Callum Peters isn't tough. Joshua James is going to come in confident. When you're looking at some of the variables of Joshua traveling to Australia, was I kind of shocked when I heard that? I was. You don't see every day another young prospect slash contender who's been in there with world-class guys, Lester Martinez, traveling to Australia to take on a top-rated prospect. People in my environment know who Callum Peters is. 50 cal, good punch. He's big, he has power, he's aggressive, and when you watch him fight, he has that sort of youthful energy that an undefeated prospect carries into the ring. A sort of boxer who's free in there, a guy who's never really had to doubt himself, a guy who's really never had to overcome adversity. When fighters are aligned that way, they fight freely, they don't have any doubts, and they're letting it flow, and those sort of fighters are extremely dangerous. We will see how these two match up come fight night. I'm really excited about this one. I think Peters versus Joshua James, Double J, will steal the show. Guys, before I get into my prediction, if you didn't know, if you're new here, I do live streams every single day in those live streams, the JSB Insiders. I take their questions on the live streams. We feature them. I give you my long parlays, my props, my underdogs of the week, all that good stuff. In these Stats Don't Lie edited videos, you're only going to get my money line prediction. All right, guys, wherever you are in the world, let's pull out our betting apps. Wow, these lines are moving. I went to bed last night. Callum Peters was $1.54. Currently on the money line, Callum Peters is $1.40. You put 100 on Peters, you get your money back plus 40 bucks. Joshawn James is now at $3.20 dog. 100 on him gets you your money back plus $220. So JJ is a little bit more than a 2-to-1 dog. He's very live in this fight. He can punch. He believes in his punches. We have seen him hurt. We've seen him on the canvas. More than anything, you could talk about a guy who's been knocked out before, which he has. You could talk about a 27-year-old who's been dropped in his most recent fights. Lester Martinez wobbled him with a jab. We watched the double knockdown in his last fight, and you'd say that, you know, he's not durable. But we've also watched a guy who's picked himself up off of the canvas multiple times. He ended up winning a decision in his last fight, a fight in which he was dropped. He's going to come in confident. He can punch. I think the travel, I think the youthful energy, I think Callum Peters is power, and I truly think Callum Peters is next in line in Australia. We get a lot of prospects coming through Australia, but not a lot like Callum, with a guy with a storied amateur background, with as much shine as Peters, and the kid could crack. He's a really good athlete. I'm really excited about this. I'm waiting for props to drop right now on the money line. I'm going all in on the 23-year-old Australian. I think 50 Cal is going to live up to his nickname. I think his power, speed, and his aggression is going to be a little bit too much for Joshawn James. This is not an echo chamber. In the comments section below, I know our Discord is torn on this. I said earlier it was a 50-50 fight. I mean that. Let me know who you think is going to win, the American or the Australian. Also, stay tuned, guys. We have a lot of fights coming up. I'm going to be uploading my breakdown of the Nikita Tszyu fight next. So stay tuned to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.